Welcome to Mindfully Integrative Podcast with your host, Dr. Damaris G. Mindfully Integrative is a podcast discussing ways toward mindfully incorporating integrative health into our lives. This podcast will have informative resources, fun topics, interviews, and discussions relatable for today with a true mindful perspective in a mind-body, holistic life approach.
Hi, how are you? This is the Mindfully Integrative Show, and this is Dr. Damaris Maria G. And today we have a wonderful mindful chat with a world-renowned motivational speaker, Shawn Anderson. And I can't wait for you guys to hear his words and his wisdom to kind of talk about his path in, as I call it, integrative health, but many things to kind of help change your perspective on your health journey. So thanks so much for joining in.
Damaris, it is extra kind, and how lucky am I to be on your show?
Well, thanks. It's a little show, but I'm grateful for at least if one or two people can gain a little ripple or talk and effect, I think it'll make a difference.
Exactly.
So let's talk about your path and your journey. Would you like me to call you Shawn, Mr. Anderson? How would you like to be called?
Well, my dogs, I think they refer to me as the guy that carries the green bag. So Shawn, it would be a step up from that. How about that, huh?
Okay, that's great. So I always kind of ask for individuals just a little fun fact that people may not know about you.
Well, my favorite thing to do every single day, and I'm so good at it, is taking my two little twin chihuahuas for their morning walk, because it's how I get my whole day set. I watch them stop and smell and bark at other dogs and stick their noses in the air, and it just reminds me that the greatest things in life are not the biggies that we chase, but the greatest things in life are the littles that are disguised as biggies.
Oh, those little, and they're pretty mighty, those chihuahuas. They have a strong personality. I have dachshunds and they act like they're like big, like huskies.
Yeah, it's a real blessing for anybody that hasn't owned a dog or a cat or a pet. And we think of the great responsibility, but I'll tell you what, and it is a responsibility, but the amount of teaching that you can get from a dog, the amount of love that you can get from a dog, man, I'll tell you what, my two have made me a better guy.
Oh, that's so cute. What are your dogs' names?
Well, the first is named Amicus, Amicus, and the second is named Emmy, E, capital M-I. That's how she spells it, right? And both of them are from titles of my books. One's Amicus 101, and the other's Extra Mile, America, Stories of Inspiration, Possibility, and Purpose. So that's where the E, capital M, small I stands for Emmy, right?
Yes, you're out.
And
Damaris,
about your book. I have a tortoise, and my tortoise is named Fibs after my book, The Four Fibs, right? So that's
cool. That's
to get more pets, I have to write more books.
We haven't even talked about your Extra Mile books. That is, I call you, world-renowned speaker, but we haven't even talked about your Extra Mile book because that obviously is huge and profound. So I know you talk about it to many inspiring people, even more than I have.
Yeah, the whole Extra Mile message it's really my message. Is if you want to create the very best life for yourself and your family and your community, and create the best experience for yourself as we walk this mystery called life, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over, or you're going to find yourself in a rut of frustration and anxiety and despair and anger and depression. But you learn to go the extra mile. You go the extra mile in your relationships. You go the extra mile in your work, for your health, for yourself, for your friends, on the conversation. And when we go the extra mile in life, when we seek to add value to the world, it just can't help but boomerang back to us. And so really my whole theme is about going the extra mile. And it's through the day I've created Extra Mile Day. It's through the tours I've created called Extra Mile America, Extra Mile World. It's everything I do is tied to something about going the extra mile.
I was reading about your Extra Mile book, and I was like, oh, I got to take that one too. It's like another one that I need to really resonate with. So, talk to me a little bit about your journey and your story. I know, as I talk about it in the integrative health space, but people always kind of have a path of why they've transitioned into this different mindset or this expanding of consciousness or journey into another way. Tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I really build myself as an ordinary guy who just chooses to live an extraordinary life. And I guess I got lucky as a kid in the sense that, man, I had a real passion for baseball cards. And in order to go buy the baseball cards, I needed to get some money. And so I became an entrepreneur at a young age. My very first gig was, selling worms to fishermen. So I'd fled my parents' backyard. Those big giant night crawlers, worms would come up. I'd gather them up. I'd run an ad in the Reno Evening Gazette on weekends. I'd sit out in the front yard, and at 6 a.m. on Saturdays and Sundays, the fishermen would stop by and they'd buy my worms. And I learned at a very, very, very young age that if you've got a dream or if you've got a wish, we also have the power to make that dream or that wish come true. At that time, it was about baseball cards, finding a way to get them. At this time in my life, it's about finding a way to make a difference and finding ways to create that and make that happen. So, my journey's been one certainly of early seeds being planted, that I saw fruits, but more than that, it's been about evolving. It's about evolving into a way that just doesn't add value to my life, but certainly I can see the bigger picture now and how I choose to add value to other people's lives.
And your website, you empower people to get moving, right? So is this a physical movement? Is this an energetic movement? Is this all encompassing of many things?
Yeah, absolutely. It's encompassing. I suppose physical movement is a great thing. And one thing for me, I'll be going on 60 here coming up, but I've walked across 8 countries in the last, since 2014. So actually physical movement's a big deal, but it's more about just getting people moving. Let's get you moving. Let's get you off the couch. Let's get your dreams outside of your head. Let's throw them into the universe. Let's throw them into the world. Let's make things happen, man. Let's get you moving. Because I have discovered that my greatest moments, my greatest experiences, my greatest inspirations have never come from sitting on a couch, watching Pat Sajak and Vanna and buying, letters, watching Wheel of Fortune. It just doesn't happen like that. My greatest experiences and moments have been ones that I've been making them happen, man. It's the idea that's in your head that you want to learn to dance. It's the idea in your head that you've always wanted to play the guitar or the piano. It's the idea in your head that things happen in your life early that didn't allow you to go to college, but now let's get you moving and go to college, right? It's whatever it is that's whispering inside you, Damaris, that's what you should do. Let's get you moving towards that.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, whatever that is for the day or your gratitude, even if it's a daily one, right? Even a daily movement of something.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I'm a big believer, and I'm going to say this word again, the whispers. Those whispers are those little nudges that we get, those thoughts we get like that say, oh, that would be fun. Oh, I want to do this. And I think that the more that we act on those whispers, the more that we're able to walk to our potential. The more that we deny those and we don't do those, we don't do the little nudges that we get, then I think our potential starts to get smaller and smaller because we start to lose faith in our ability to do anything. And so I'm a big believer that when you get that little nudge, that little whisper, that little voice inside you that says, go do that. Oh my gosh, I want to travel there. Oh my gosh, I've always wanted to write that book. Oh my gosh, whatever your oh my gosh is, man, go do that.
Go do it. How do you feel, or let me take the step back. You obviously are a meditator in such, meaning that you have your path and you're walking and getting or all these going around the country in different continents. Where do you find that you had a meditative moments where that you like it really awakened you to do all these different things, to meet all these different people? Is that what kind of got you to your journey now? Like you did the Extra Mile book, you've met all these people.
I think from a young age, I just had this real understanding that life is short. I've had this real passion always to make my life count, and certainly that's my driving force. That's what gets me out of my lazies. That's what gets me out of those feelings when I'm just not feeling it. Just gosh, how many more days do I have left? How many months, how many years, whatever. Let's go do it, man. And then when you start to let the excitement build in you, the excitement in that moment will build, and that excitement for that day will build. So sometimes if you're not feeling it, if you just go out and just take a short little walk and start creating physical movement, then that creates mental movement, and that'll create emotional movement, and that'll create action to doing movement. And then once we start to doing the things that we wanted to do off our list, then we start feeling a little bit better about ourselves. And when our self-esteem rises, we go to the next and the next and the next. And that's how we start to create a great day, which creates a great week, which creates a great month, which creates a great year, which creates a great life.
Those little steps, those little moments, right?
Man, baby steps. I'll tell you, I had a real lesson on that. So I've pedaled a bike ocean to ocean twice. I was a non-bicyclist. The first time I had become a vegetarian in life, and I got really thin, and some people said, "Oh my gosh, you look so thin. Are you sick?" But yet I was feeling so amazing. And I said, "Well, I'm gonna show the world. To show the world about how sick I am right now." So I went to a store in the West Coast called REI, and on a Sunday, I guess, I bought a bike. A few days later, because I had a window in my schedule, I dipped the back tire of that bicycle in the Pacific Ocean near San Francisco, and 48 days later, I dipped the front tire in the Atlantic Ocean near Virginia Beach. I averaged 83 miles a day as a non-bicyclist. I didn't even own a bike. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's following through and not getting stuck in these existences that society tells us you need to do, you need to follow, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. Man, you don't need to do anything except do what makes you happy and live your potential and make a difference and add value, right?
Right. Wow, that's pretty profound to be able to do that, to go from shore to shore. I mean, that's not just like an easy undertaking.
There's one place I've grown across the Rocky Mountains. It's 11,312 feet. And I got to tell you, pedaling a bike, 11,312 feet, because the rule is when you ride a bike across the country, you can't stop and push it even 1 foot or 2 feet or 3 feet. For me, I got to pedal that every way. And 11,312 feet, man, when I got to the top of that, I realized that I probably set my sights pretty low on what I can do in life.
What? I mean, did you find yourself get injured, or when you were at your, did you ever have any dark points, or was it just that you were just very determined?
Fiddlesticks, man. I so many times. Okay, so here's like one of my darkest points. First time I walked across the country, 90 days before I made the decision to go, a guy sent me a book called A Million Little Steps, and he wanted me to read the book and give him a preface for that book. And I was reading it, and it was about him walking across something called the Camino de Santiago in Spain. And as I was reading it, those whispers started, "Dude, you shouldn't be reading this book. You should be living this book." And so that's why when my schedule kind of fixed itself, 90 days later, I was out and I started in Saint Jean, France, and walked over the Pyrenees Mountains that first day and into Spain and all the way to Finisterre. But it was early. It was that first week, and I thought I was a super walker, and I was just walking my tail off and walking fast and everything. I was loving it, loving life. But my feet started to get really, really beat up. And then my feet started to bleed and blister, and I started losing toenails. So I'm walking.
No shoes?
Oh, no, I've got shoes, but inside they're totally in pain, man. I mean,
oh my God.
In fact, so it's like around day 7, man.
Oh my gosh.
I'm walking, limping so slow into this little tiny Spanish town, and this woman at this little tiny store is sitting in the front of the store, and she sees me and she points at me and she starts yelling at me in Spanish, and I don't speak Spanish, but I know it wasn't good, that what she was saying. And she was looking at me and pointing at me and pointing at my feet, and she ran over. She told me to sit down right there. She just pointed, so I knew I wasn't about to argue with her. She ran back into the store, which is a store evidently she owned. She came back out with a brown bag. In the brown bag, she came and she sat down on the ground in front of me. She took off my shoes and and at that point, it's really humbling. I'm taking off my socks. What is she going to do? I don't know. I'm in a Twilight Zone type moment. I'm not sure what's going on here. She starts bandaging my feet with what she had in the store, and she bandages them up with women's feminine protection pads to add this like soft cushion.
Oh, but it worked. It must have worked,
No,
man.
it
Oh my
totally
God.
worked, because at that point it got me walking out of the town. It inspired me about people, life, hope. My feet had this extra little cush,
Oh
and
my gosh.
and they started to heal as I kept going, and I made it. I made it. So yeah, that was a pretty down time when, my toenails are falling off. Yeah.
Oh God. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, not just physical downtime. I mean also a mental time. Like how, like when you're alone, in those spaces and those times, did you like was it you eating? Like what did you just stop to get like some food in these different places? Like between the biking and the Spain trip, where were you getting your food and your nutrients?
Let me tell you why I do these first off. Why I do these really,
Yeah,
really
please
long adventures
talk
and
further
treks.
about this. Yeah.
Yeah, because this, I get a lot of my personal power from these things. I call them my axe sharpening adventures. So picture this. So picture a lumberjack who's splitting wood, and he's got this big axe, and he's swinging it down over his head powerfully, and he keeps splitting log after log after log. Eventually, if he does not sharpen that axe, those pieces of wood aren't going to split. They're going to be much slower. Well, our life is like that too. If our passion is not sharpened, if our purpose is not sharpened, if we are not sharpened, we start to live more dully. So, once a year at least, every 9 to 12 months, I will do an axe sharpening adventure where I'm going to throw myself into a situation so outside my comfort zone, these long treks. My furthest has been walking 750 miles across Shikoku, Japan, where I'm going into a strange country. I don't speak the language. I'm not sure where I'm going to sleep. I'm not sure what the food situation is, but it's so challenging mentally, emotionally, that the first 10 days I'm suffering. I'm going, why that? Blah 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 blah. You're doing this. Why? Because you're just so uncomfortable. But then on day 11, you're starting to feel your groove. On day 15, you're going, yes. On day 21, you're going, oh man. Think of your brain goes crazy with all the things you're going to do when you get back home. Your passion's relit. Your purpose is on fire. You're about ready to go write the greatest book you've ever done and the greatest speech you've ever given. Because man, you're sharpening yourself. You're sharpening your spirit. You're sharpening your thoughts, because it takes that kind of, for me, that kind of actual sacrifice, self-awareness, and moment of pushing where I become better.
Mm, wow. And have you found that after each of these journeys, you've definitely came up with a new book or came up with a new
Every single time.
every single time?
Every single time. And at the very least, I've come back and my passion has been lit on fire. So in our conversation today, I don't know if you've felt any passion coming from this direction, but I'm still about 2 months away from my next axe sharpening adventure, which I'll be walking across my next country, my 9th country. This will be a short one for me. This will be Scotland. I think it's only a couple hundred miles, but it's from one side of Scotland to the other side.
Do you do most of these by yourself, or do you do them?
Oh,
with
100%. All of them.
Okay. Oh,
All of them.
Okay.
Yeah, and because it's those times right there where you're not really leaning on anybody else, but you're leaning on yourself. I think one of the most powerful quotations, and I don't know, I know you're big on mentors, and I know you're big on lessons that you've learned that have helped mold you and shape you, and I can't point to any real life people in that, but I can point to quotations or things that I remember, and this one in particular, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I don't look for someone else to add the assistance. I look for myself to get myself to where I want to go.
I
And
don't
in
think you
that
need
case,
it.
yeah, but because in that case, it's very empowering when you're not pointing to the government or your spouse or your community and saying, "What are you going to do to make my life better?" You're looking at the man or the woman in the mirror, and you're having some straight eye contact, and you're saying, "Look, buddy, what are you going to do to make your life better?" So if it's going to be, it's up to me. And so when you get into those moments where you really have to learn to trust yourself, you can't. I know now I can depend on myself. I can depend on myself to have the fortitude, the energy, the creativity, the somehow to get myself to where I need to go.
That's amazing. Do you have, I mean, at this point in time, I mean, do you have children, or are they older, or family that that you reach out to, if anything, or friends that you reach out to?
I walk across the country without a cell phone.
You do. Okay. Well, I know with but if no help, are you just kind of just go with where the
Yeah, it's
world
like
takes you?
it's like Napoleon. No, I definitely have a path, and I definitely know where I want to be, and I definitely have a map, and I definitely, I mean, I every, you can't. It's, for example, on a very simple thing. Let's say, what's your goal? Someone says to go to New York. Well, okay, so what's the plan to get to New York? You got, what's your transportation? Do you have enough money? Are you going to spend, where are you spending the night on your way there if you're driving? Do you have enough money for gas? So you need a plan. You can't just say, I want to be successful. I want to be happy. I want to be a millionaire. I want to have a podcast show. I want to help a million people. What's the plan? It's great to have the vision, but what's your plan? So when I never go on one of these great adventures without an idea of what my plan is, right?
Right. I see what you're
But
saying.
part of my plan is I'm making it to the finish line. I'm making it to the finish line. It's like Napoleon a long time ago. He had his men burn their ships, and he said, "Hey guys, if you want to go back home, we're taking their ships, right? That's the plan. There's just no way out. When I start a walk, the moment I get there, I'm not taking any transportation. I'm not taking a taxi. I'm not taking a bus. I'm trusting my 2 feet and my two sneakers named left and right."
No, I understand what you're saying. I was gonna actually add and say that do you believe that what you endure in these different paths, right, in these different journeys, that there's a grit that you have that not everybody has available to them? Like you obviously say it pretty well in the sense of you're determined to finish, right? I know way too many people in society that start something. For you, it's your journey across these different countries. I know many people that can't even just finish like their, I don't know. You put in the sentence there. Finish X, Y, Z, and they just don't have that determination or that direction. What do you think has given you that direction? Is it just time?
Because I just don't let myself accept mediocrity. And I know if I start waving the white flag, if I don't finish what I'm saying I'm going to do, I lose credibility with myself. And the
Mhm.
moment I lose credibility with myself, then why should I even share a single dream with anybody else? Because it's not even real. I don't become real anymore. I think the one person you should never lie to in life is yourself. You should never lie to yourself, because once that whole game starts coming, then you've lost your ability to really leave footprints that make a difference in life. You've lost your ability to live to your potential. You've lost your ability to ever find your best self. I mean, so yeah, I'm very cognizant of that. It's not something that even comes natural. Just because I say I'm going to start doesn't mean that those steps are easy. It just means that I have to find a way to get there. I have to find a way to get there. But there's never been a dream that I've had that's made it to a finish line if I've quit along the way. It doesn't. I've written 7 books.
Mm.
If the book doesn't get finished if I stop at chapter 4.
Right.
I've started multiple businesses. The business doesn't get going just because I buy a business license. So there's so many stages that success, so many challenges that success throws at us that give us an opportunity to quit. I just, and I'm aware of that. I know that, and I know that it's hard, and I know that some of my challenges I've faced lately have been some of the hardest ones I've ever faced.
Mm.
But I just want it. I just want to do it. I just want to get there because I know what it feels like to get there, and I know what it feels like not to get there.
Hmm. Do you find in these journeys, I mean, you wrote a book on the extra mile, right? And you wrote a book on other people's journeys and their stories. Um, when you get to these, so Scotland, you go on your journey and you come
Hmm.
back.
Hmm.
Um, do you find that it's that like your answers, like you found a new answer, or is it just that like the journey of it is more enjoyable, or is it the destination of finishing it, like the goal's done, I've checked it, which is more of the your need, finishing the walking the country, or is that journey of that, or is it just finishing it? What do you feel has given you
Mm.
the most satisfaction?
I really don't hang the things I've done up like in plaques on the walls, or
Mm-hmm.
it's not about that for me. It's all about continuing to find ways to refine myself and to increase my passion and to become more personally powerful So after I will finish walking across Scotland, and right there you see there's a mindset in that, not like I hope I finish or after I do finish.
Yeah, you are gonna finish walking.
Yeah.
Yes, you are gonna do it.
So it's always about my next. I never get so married to what I just did. It's about what can I do next. And it's not about going from biggie to biggie to biggie to biggie, because I shared with you at the beginning that, the littles are the biggies in disguise, right? That's where I find my health, my happiness, my harmony. It's in really appreciating the littles, the conversations like this conversation. This is a biggie for me. It's the moment, it's the experiences. Those are the biggies, not whether or not I make, a whole bunch of money or reach a whole bunch of people. What I'm looking at the end of these walks is just lighting my own personal fire to want to live to my potential. That's all. And then taking these ideas that I've had out on the walk or whatever, and getting back home and implementing them and taking action and moving on them.
I love it. I think that's so profound. I mean, I haven't gone on nearly these walks that you have, but I definitely found a lot of my inner journeys and even just small meditations have brought me a lot of my path. So
exactly. It's those 15, if a person can find 15 minutes a day just to be consistent and finding some real powerful meditation where you're closing off everything and turning off the phone and the internet and the things, and you just listen to a soft sound machine and having some awesome aromatherapy in the room and just starting to train yourself to breathe, to find your patience, to find your calm. And you'd be so surprised at the personal transformation that can start to happen. And sometimes I gotta share this story with you, Damaris, is that sometimes when I walked the vision that I was walking, things happened that were far, far, far bigger than I could have ever imagined. So it was 2009, and I created this Extra Mile America tour where it was the second time I'd pedaled a bike across the country as a Forrest Gump symbol of going the extra mile. But the power of that particular tour, that was 83 days from San Francisco to Chicago, was along the way I visited with 21 mayors and had motivational events with them. And we interviewed over 200 people who had been identified as going the extra mile in volunteerism and service and contribution to society. But here's where this idea happened. So across the state of Nevada is the only state that you can pedal a bike across on the freeway, because there's no other way to cross the Nevada from California to Utah but going right across 80. So there's one particular stretch, and I believe it's about 65 miles, and it's out in the middle of the desert. And I literally had to leave about 4 a.m. pedaling on this particular day because it just got so hot. I mean, it was out there 100, and there's no places to stop on the 65-mile stretch. There's no trees. There's no shade. There's no drinking water. So you're just pedaling your little booty about as fast as you can, and you're getting passed by these big trucks that are, running a few yards away from you, and it's crazy. So I'm out there, and I'm brainstorming as I'm pedaling. My legs are moving as fast. The sweat's just dripping off me, and I'm thinking, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do to make Extra Mile America tour bigger, bigger, bigger? And I had this idea. Oh, what about Extra Mile Day? What about creating Extra Mile Day? So we'll tell the mayors to create this special day where they just recognize the volunteers, the awesome Extra Mile volunteers in their city. So when I got to the destination, when I made it through that 65-mile stretch, I got on the phone, called my staff, said, hey, we're going to do this. Let's find which mayors will join us on Extra Mile Day and clap for their volunteers. So that was, and I had to come up with the date, and I came up with this date, November 1st, because I just liked how the ones went together, 1, 1, 1, right? I mean, 1, 1, 1. So 11-1, November 1st, 2009 became Extra Mile Day. That first year, 23 crazy mayors said, man, Shawn, your vision's awesome. I love your vision. Let's clap for our people. So November 1st, 2009, 23 cities participated. Every year since then, it's continued. November 1st, 2021, 528 cities participated.
You've been doing this since 2009.
Yeah. Extra Mile Day keeps growing.
I didn't know that. That's beautiful.
Extra Mile Day keeps growing. And so what I'm trying to share with people is if you start walking the walk, it's going to grow bigger than you think you could ever.
That's really beautiful. I didn't even know that. I've been doing this since 2009. That's really cool. Yeah, I think that it's like paying it forward. There's just so many more people that you can help. And I think when people stop looking at like just themselves in this world, there's, the stuff you don't need nearly as many things as you can do to like make someone else smile.
And you're such an awesome kindred spirit. I got to really tell you, because you keep sparking all these thoughts and these ideas. So I'm exactly on the same page as you. So it was literally like 10 days ago. So I'm out on one of these walks and I'm thinking, how can I recognize people more? So I had this idea. I'm going to create this new hashtag called hashtag clap for someone. And at the same time, I just checked the domain name and no one had clapforsomeone.com. So I bought this name, clapforsomeone.com. And so now every day on Twitter, I find somebody in the world, some group, some organization that's doing something so special. And it's hashtag clap for someone. And it's slowly starting to grow. I think yesterday there was like 1,500 impressions. And that's, it just keeps on growing and growing. So I'm going to keep doing this.
How are you spelling it? I'll make sure we have it
hashtag,
on there.
The hashtag, right?
Oh, hashtag, right? Yeah.
CLAP. FOR.
Yeah.
SOMEONE. Clap for
perfect.
someone.
Love it.
Clap for someone, man. So you and I are on the same page. It's about, I wanted to find a way to clap for someone. And so this is my new thing. Let's go clap for someone. Because, especially on social media, we're in this, I don't know if you spend much time hanging out there, but it's all about, oh, look at me. Look at this selfie. Yeah. I'm having so much fun. Oh my God, look how beautiful I am. Oh my gosh, my life is so perfect. Look at the meal that I just had.
It's always like a perfect moment. You're always like, God. And I feel like I definitely have to be on social media just as a general sense for brand wise, but like, I think the tough part is it's like, I would love to, I'm just more trying to always be as like, this is who I am. This is my day. It's not that, some days are, but you try to be as authentic as possible, but not everybody is. And you're right. They have the most perfect meal. And you're like, did you see my meal today?
Because social media is about clap for me. Mm-hmm. Social media is about clap for me. So I said, okay, let's make a clap for someone. Not you. Right. Clap for someone.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. No, that's cool. I like it. Put it out more. So I
gratitude.
Really appreciate you being on. And do you have a motivational addition clap for someone that you want to add in, and of course ways that we can find you and those that can follow you?
Yes, if anybody is listening and they like what Damaris and I have talked about, and if this conversation's been good, we give her all the credit because she was an awesome leader today. Go to ShawnAnderson.com, and every Thursday I have a blog that goes out called Extra Mile Thursday. It went out today. I think today was the 541st blog in a row that went out on Thursday, and it's all about finding ways to inspire the reader to be pulled up the hill or pushed up his hill or her hill or whatever. It's me trying to add as much value to your life to inspire your dreams. It's called Extra Mile Thursdays. You can go to ShawnAnderson.com, sign up for free. Never, ever do I try to sell anything in the world except sell you on the idea that you were meant to be awesome.
That sounds beautiful. I love it. So I thank you so much for your time and your energy. Good luck on your Scotland trip. Keep us posted when you get back. Maybe we'll have to see what comes out after that.
Well, gratitude to you. Gratitude to you for having the courage to live the life that you've lived, to impact the people that you've impacted, and always and forever, it'd be my privilege to be on your show again, Dr. Damaris Grossman.
Oh, you're welcome. And I really appreciate your time. And thanks again.
Gratitude.
So those listening, thank you so much for joining in on the Mindfully Integrative Show. And as I tell each one of you, find a mindful way each and every day. And thanks again for joining in.
Thank you for listening to the Mindfully Integrative Show with Dr. Damaris Maria Grossman, family nurse practitioner. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not the substitute for professional medical advice, diagnose, or treat. Always consult your healthcare provider before making changes to your healthcare routine. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. If you enjoyed our show, please support us by leaving a mindful review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite streaming platform. Interested in being a guest or more information? Email us at info@mindfullyintegrative.com. For resources mentioned in the show, visit our website at www.mindfullyintegrative.com. You can also connect mindfully with Dr. Damaris on her social media links found on the site. May your strength and peace guide you to find a mindful way every day. Namaste.